everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aideen, and if you're new here, I do videos on veganism, fitness, running in particular, and a little bit of travel and lifestyle as well. I'm going to talk about the 5 top mistakes that I made while training and running and training for my first half marathon. So I just did like a whole series on my YouTube channel about kind of lead up to the half marathon. It was my first half marathon. I ran the popular Brooklyn half, which is the biggest half marathon in the world, and I just made a video there recently talking about my experience and like my PR and what my time was. I ran a 1 hour and 31 minute half marathon, which I was so happy with because it was my first half marathon. But I kind of mentioned a few things in that video that went kind of wrong for me in the day, or that I did wrong, and yeah, I'm going to talk about in this video my top 5 mistakes that I made and that I would do differently next time, or that I'll know for next time. So if you're training for your first half marathon or even your first race, or if you're just new to running, I was not new to running before I raced this half marathon, but I was definitely new to racing, but that's a whole other story why it took me so long to actually get around to running a race. These are my top 5 tips. Don't forget to subscribe at the end of this video and give it a thumbs up. Okay, so mistake number 1, weight training. So I did not weight train as part of my training plan and prep for this half marathon. So when I talk about my training plan, I mean, I've always been running, you know, like quite a long mileage, and it's not like I signed up for this marathon and like right now I'm gonna train like more. I did train a little bit more, but I was already training quite a lot. But one thing that I didn't do in the lead up to this half marathon was weight training. And I remember seeing a personal trainer at the beginning of this year and talking about wanting to run a half marathon, and I was advised to incorporate weight training into my training plans and my workouts. And I guess when I say weight training for running, there are specific weight training. It's more strength exercises really, with light weights and high repetitions. So it's not as if you're trying to build a booty or anything with like squats, or it's not that kind of weight training. But at the time I just wasn't really mad into the weight training, and it just was an extra thing to have to think about. It was just an extra effort, and I was really like not sure about it. I was like, but that's just gonna make me build muscle and make me weigh more, and then I'm not gonna be as light, and I'm not going to be able to run as fast. But actually weight training is so important for runners as well, because for strength, you need strength in your legs when you're running for that far and for that long. You need to have that endurance. There are several different aspects components that go into endurance sports, but you have to have strength in your legs, and you build up strength in your legs through strength training. And it's also really good for joint health, which, you know, obviously running is a high impact sport, so on your knees it's going to put a lot of pressure on your knees. So weight training is really good for strengthening your joints and your bones. And also strength training is good for form and preventing injury. So how did I realize that it was a mistake not to incorporate strength training? Well, my training leading up to the half marathon, and always like the past couple of years, apart from cycling, I've done a lot of cycling in the past, but the main, I'd say in the 5 months leading up to the half marathon, my training was pretty much all working on my aerobic fitness and my aerobic running fitness, and that was all like through different types of running exercises. I was doing some sprinting towards the end, but I really laid off the sprinting earlier on. So basically all I was doing was running and yoga. I did yoga like 3 times a week, and yoga is a brilliant thing to incorporate into your training and to complement your running. If you're a runner, I would 100% recommend doing yoga, because it's so good it is good for strength training. It's good for endurance, it's good for your mental health, and it really like helps with your breathing and your heart rate, and also really good form. So I would recommend yoga is a great thing to do, but also I'm thinking now that I'm gonna look into strength training as well, because when I was running like practicing the actual course and on the day, I realized that whereas my cardiovascular fitness was really, really good, I mean, my heart rate never goes above like 110 beats per whatever, and my resting heart rate is like 40 to 50, and that's like really, really good for, that's like a good sign of cardiovascular fitness. It's very hard for me to get out of breath. However, I did feel weakness in my legs, and I'd also lost a ton of muscle at the beginning of this year. I kind of struggled with some issues. I've talked about that in other videos. So I really had lost a lot of muscle and strength in my legs. And you know, endurance is not just about strength, obviously, but you do need to have strong legs if you're going to be running for that long. And having strong legs does not mean like growing huge legs, like absolutely not. I mean, look at marathon runners. They have tiny, tiny, tiny legs, and it's not about building size, it's about building strength. And yeah, there are specific strength building exercises that you have to do and you have to work on to improve your strength, I guess. So that is something I'm going to be looking into next time. So if you are looking to run any race or a half marathon in particular, then look into any like weight training regimes that you can do. I'll be doing more videos on this in the future. Number 2, getting your music organized. Okay, so I cannot run without music. I can cycle without music. Actually, I prefer cycling without music. Do not ask me to run without music. Like, oh my god, I just can't. Well, like I can, but it's just so much more fun when you're listening to music, and you have to like have the right, be listening to the right music, and that's different for everybody. I'm just like the least organized person when it comes to these kind of things, because I've been running on the treadmill always. I always just listened to music on my phone through YouTube. So I had like the internet on like the Wi-Fi of the gym, and I used to just watch videos, music videos on YouTube, and just flick through them, and I had whichever ones that I was really into at the time. And I would just listen to music on YouTube. I recently got a new phone, so I didn't have any music saved on it. I stupidly switched to Android, so I didn't have an iPhone anymore. I used to use an iPod Nano like 3 or 4 years ago when they were still a thing, and mine had lasted for years because I got it years ago, but then that did eventually break. The week of the marathon, I started to be like, oh, I have to get my music sorted. What am I going to do for music? I really didn't want to carry my phone with me when I was running, so I looked into a fitness watch, and that didn't work out at all. I think fitness watches are like just, they're good for some things, but I found I couldn't use the swipe interface at all when I was running. It just didn't work out for me, and I couldn't get the music to sync. I did buy one, I ended up returning it. So at the end of the day, I was kind of frantically like realizing that I would have to use my phone, and I was putting music on my phone like the night before the race, and I had run the track earlier in the week, and I had a perfect playlist lined up, like the perfect music and the perfect songs that get me pumped at the right time, and I just added a few more like the night before, and I just messed up my whole playlist basically. So on the day, I had really non-pumpy music on my phone that was like on my playlist, and I was like just waiting for the next song to come on all the time. I had my phone in my sports bra, and I couldn't like take it out during the race because A, it was lashing rain, and I had and it was freezing. I had like a clear through poncho like tied right up around my chin, and I couldn't get to it. Like my hands were too cold anyway, they couldn't move to like navigate through the music. Towards the last like 2 miles, I did take it out, and I was just running with my phone like frantically, like trying to look for a song that was gonna like get me through the last 2 miles. So yeah, that's something I would sort out next time. I'm going to be more organized with my playlist. I'm actually looking into just getting a cheap MP3 player that does work on Bluetooth, because I do need to run with wireless headphones. Number 3, speaking of having run the track that week, let me just talk a little bit about my training the week of the marathon. This is where it fell down big time. I kind of freaked out the week before, the week of, because it was lashing rain, and cold and grey every single day of that week, and it had been beautiful weather before, and I was really hoping that this race would be run in good weather because it's the end of May here in New York and the weather is supposed to be good. So I had not trained at all outside, like at all. So this can be like part of point number 3 to train outside more. But basically I ran the course 3 times in 1 week, including the actual race. So I ran the course twice that week. The race was on a Saturday and I ran the course on a Monday and a Thursday. I took 1 day off that week on the Wednesday, and then on the Tuesday and Friday I did 8-mile runs. So I clocked up a lot of miles before the actual race day. And this is fine, but this isn't a bad thing, but running the course is 12-13 miles. Running that on concrete twice, like in that week before the race, that was like a bad idea because I could feel it on the Saturday. My hamstrings were really tight and my knees were sore and my legs weren't feeling as strong because they had already given quite a lot of energy for those training sessions. And the reason that I ended up running it twice was because I wanted to run the course before running the actual race anyway, and I also wanted to make sure that I was able to run it in the rain because I knew it was going to be raining on the day. So on the Thursday I woke up really early at like 5 a.m. and I was like, it was lashing rain outside. I just wanted to go back to bed. But you know, something told me that if you don't go and run this race right now or run the course right now, you're not going to get up and do it on Saturday. And I think that's true. So I did it on Thursday and the Monday, but Thursday it was really rainy and I just did it and it was fine. So that meant I was like just really excited for the Saturday, but I did physically feel it and I think I could have knocked a couple minutes off my time if I had had a bit more rest in my legs maybe. Now, I'm not saying don't run the course. Run the course as many times as you want, I would advise you to, but just don't do it like accumulatively in the week of the race, and try and have your first outdoor running session, if you're a treadmill runner like me, try and have that maybe not all in one go in the week of the race. So point number 4, I did not get enough sleep the week of the race. And there are 2 reasons for this. Is that one of the reasons is I drank too much coffee. If I drink coffee after 3 p.m. or even after 2 p.m, I can't sleep that night. Now, I used to be able to drink 8 coffees a day and, you know, okay, I didn't sleep very well, but it wasn't like, that was one of the reasons why I lost out on a lot of sleep. I mean, I think I got like 4 hours sleep most nights of that week. And a second reason is that I couldn't get sleep because my roommate was watching TV really loudly. That's just how it is in New York. We all live on top of each other, and my room is in a really bad place in this apartment. It's like right outside the door of the TV, and you know, you don't always get the best roommates sometimes here in New York, and he didn't really care that I was trying to get enough sleep for the half marathon, and he just played the TV. Okay, so the 5th and final mistake was just not knowing race logistics, like not knowing the basic race logistics. Like, for example, the actual paper thing with your number on it, your bib, I didn't know how to attach that. I was actually in the subway in the morning, like about to peel off the tracker, and one of the girls was like, no, you don't peel that off, that's your tracker. And I was like, but isn't that the sticky part to like stick it on you? She's like, no, you need to like attach that with pins. Didn't know that. I didn't know anything about like corrals or how everyone was lined up. I didn't know, I just had no vision in my head of what it was going to be like on the day because I'd never run a race before. And yeah, I didn't get that once the gun went off, your time only starts when you actually cross the start line. Like, I thought that the minute the gun went off that my time had started, and I was like, that's not fair, I'm like way behind everyone at the front, like I'm gonna miss out on like 5 minutes. And I just didn't know any of the basics. I didn't know about like what to take. I didn't know what was going to be open that morning because I would have had a coffee like closer to the time rather than like the minute I woke woke up. Just like basic little things like that. Okay guys, so they are the top 5 mistakes that I made while running my very first half marathon. I hope that if you're preparing for a race that they helped you out and that I can give you some tips. And I'll also be doing a video on my top 10 tips for running your first race or your first half marathon, and that would kind of be like a more what I did right, I guess. So I have 10 points to what I did right and 5 points to mistakes that I made. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video.